I want to bring on, first of all, the CEO, the founder. He is a board-certified surgeon of the last 20 years. Good friend of mine who I had a chance to be able to meet in Ghana, sitting next to me here on one of those buses that hit all those potholes. Dr. Buck, are you with us today? Love to be able to introduce you as well. Hey, brother, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm also going to bring on my good friend, COO, Mr. Ben Ashley. Both of these guys had the pleasure of being involved in Black Gold when it first launched. So you guys were there at the beginning. So nobody knows the tokenomics better than these two. And I'm excited to have you guys both here. I know that everybody is chomping at the bit to be able to learn more about this new project. I'm going to let you introduce it, Ben. What's it called? Tell me.
So the RXT token.
RXT token. So we know that it's involved in the pharma industry.
Correct.
And we know that it has the ability to be able to have a significant impact as well. Give us an opportunity to participate in all of that. So talk to me. Tell me a little bit about how this all works. Give me a little bit of history and give me a little bit of what this project is all about.
Absolutely. I'm trying to. Can you see the slide deck right now? Is it up for you?
It's not up yet. There you go.
Okay. So first off, Travis, thank you so much for having us on. Myself and Dr. Parker, we last time I think we saw you in person was in Africa when we were out visiting some of the sites in support of these projects. I'd love to talk about how, our journeys into the debt box and IX Global started in different ways. You found IX, were introduced to debt. Myself and Dr. Parker, we were amongst the first 100 note holders back in November of 2021. And like you said, Black Gold was the first project I purchased. And for me, it really resonated because I had been just like you looking into cryptocurrencies and had been asking a lot of my friends that I really respected in business. No one 2 years ago was talking about tokenizing assets. No one. It wasn't even part of the conversation. In fact, when I presented, I have a very good mentor and friend who's very successful. He's a billionaire. And I said, hey, what do you think of cryptocurrencies? And he goes, I think blockchain is very cool and the transparency and the functionality, but I don't understand what gives these cryptocurrencies value. So when I was introduced to the debt box and they were talking about tokenizing commodities, oil and gas, particularly during that time, Black Gold was the first project. When you said earlier, I don't know anyone that's invested in oil well, I have. And normally, someone like me, I grew up in Montana and lived in a trailer park and would not have access to invest in something like that. But I had a trucking company. I was hauling oil up in the Bakken in North Dakota and had this lucky opportunity to invest in a well. So took every bit of money I had, invested in that oil well. And just like you said, it was dry. So when the debt box started talking about, we have the satellite technology that can give us an advantage into locating these commodities and knowing exactly what depth they're at, it completely resonated. And I jumped on board and was super excited about Black Gold. And what I love about Black Gold is it sort of teed us up for this project, RXT. So Dr. Buck Parker, he and I met through Debtbox and through a charity car rally we went on. So when he came to me and had this idea and said, I'm starting this company, I've always had a lot of respect for him as a doctor. And, he'll introduce himself a little bit later on, but he's a trauma surgeon and surgeons fix people. They don't treat people, Surgeons he always tells us, I want to fix people. I want to fix them and send them on their way. And so to have someone start a company looking to improve the healthcare industry, and every member of the board of the FAIR project is a medical doctor that works in all different aspects of medicine. And their goal is to improve the healthcare industry through blockchain and AI technology. So that was something I could really get behind. And our RXT is our first project. We're honored to be the first L2 project to come on the debt chain that we've been talking about that's coming soon. We're a little bit early, but so we're really, really excited about that. And RXT is going to be our Black Gold. A lot of the projects you were talking about, when they were only two licenses or only two projects that have only 50,000 nodes available is debt and Black Gold. Well, which two would you like to have the most of right now if you could pick more? Those two, right? Aluminum, Explorer, Blocks, some of those have 100, 150, 250,000 nodes. So we're coming out with what we feel like is our most impactful and powerful project to start. There will be others to come within the FAIR project. But what happened is we have two different ways that we're supporting this token through pre-market pharmaceuticals. We met Dr. Parker met a group out of Texas that has been bringing these many drugs to market for the past over 10 years. The drug we're looking to now is called Renibus, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But they have a proven track record. They have members on the board. We asked them the other day, we said, how many of these pre-market pharmaceuticals have you lost on it? And they said, we have a perfect track record. We've never lost. They know what they're doing. Renibus is incredible. And then we're also on top of that relationship and leveraging their experience. We have an AI platform that we've patented that will help us determine, which drugs most likely will exit to the market, will be approved by the FDA, and which of them should, what will have the most efficacy and do the most good in the market. So that's what we're doing with this project. We're generating revenue through these pharmaceuticals to support the RXT token, just like Black Gold. You said in the very beginning, when I first got my first node, there was 1 or 2 wells supporting that. Now there's over 500 in the pipeline. Same thing with RXT. We have multiple drugs that we're looking at. Renibus is the first one, but we already have 10 others on deck that will also support this token. So same power of proving out this platform. Like I said, there's only 50,000 nodes available. When Black Gold started, I think we were among the first 100 people involved. Grassroots grew out of Utah. With the power of IX, I think these will go pretty quickly. So if this is a project you're interested in, I would definitely get your licenses as soon as possible.
Well, and let me ask you a question real quick. I'm going to stop you. So you said for a moment, these projects are these pharmaceuticals that come to market. It's my understanding that they can go and raise, hundreds of millions of dollars. But when they go IPO, can you talk to me a little bit about what that feels or what that looks like?
Right. Yeah. And they've told us, some of this group, some of their previous projects were they brought Mucinex to the market, Nicoderm, Nicorette. Many of these pharmaceuticals, they're all different, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results. But many of these pharmaceuticals, they'll raise $100 to $300 million, and they'll exit to the market in the billions. $2 to $3, $4 billion. There's a lot of money in pharmaceuticals. Obviously, healthcare is massive. Healthcare accounts for 18% of the U.S. GDP as a whole, which is just incredible to think about how much money that is. You can see this chart here: worldwide pharmaceutical revenue, $1.4 trillion in 2022. That's worldwide. Now, of that, America holds 42% of that. So for anybody involved with IX that's outside of America, like I said, everyday people, we don't have access to invest in these type of things or be a part of these projects. Through the debt box and through Fair Project in these mining nodes, we're able to participate in these type of opportunities. It's incredible. So America is the driving force behind most pharmaceuticals that come to the market. When you talk about industries, I was so excited about Black Gold because I know how big the energy sector is and how cool to be a part of an ecosystem that's got technology, precious metals, energy, high yield agriculture, beverage, and then now healthcare and medicine. You look at the top 10 industries by revenue in the United States, oil and gas is number 10. The top 4 are all within the healthcare industry. Pharmaceuticals is number 3. So we will have future projects that will be involved in other aspects of healthcare, but this is our first, and we're really excited to bring it to everyone's attention within IX. This is just a little, and Buck, maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about this. This is our patent that we just filed for the AI platform. I think you can explain a little bit better than I can.
Yeah, so the this is a patent pending technology, and this is sort of what we're basing a lot of this around. The RXT node and token around is basically what we've developed is AI algorithms to tell us which drugs which drugs have a higher percentage chance of getting approved by the FDA. So as from a investing standpoint, you're like, okay, great. Now, if I know that certain drugs early on have a higher chance of getting approved by the FDA, and then also why they're going to get approved, and if they're safe and effective and all those things, then we can sort of target our capital we can have basically an advantage when we're investing our capital. So that's the one of the patents that we've applied for. And so we're super excited about that because not only do we have this patent to help us invest or deploy the capital, but we also are developing it just like ChatGPT, where they're, licensing or subscribe, you could subscribe to ChatGPT for $10 a month, whatever it is. But for us, we can also license this to the pharmaceutical industry and generate revenues like with that as well. And so that those royalties will go to the RXT token, in addition to the pharmaceutical, like the money from the pharmaceutical exits.
On Renovis, this is amazing. This story, when they went down and first looked at this drug, this is the first drug that we're involved with. Buck, tell us what it does, and then what you saw the potential of it as a surgeon.
Yeah, so this is like Ben said, this is one of many pharmaceuticals that we're looking at now. All of these that we're looking at are pre-market pharmaceuticals, and sort of our model is to find, biotech companies or pharmaceuticals that have not hit the market yet, invest in them, and then obviously they have some sort of liquidity event, like they get IPO or they sell to a large pharmaceutical company. And so Renovis is sort of our flagship pharmaceutical, and they're also allowing us to share this information with everybody. Not all the pharmaceutical companies are allowing to do that, but Renovis is a unique drug because it sort of protects all the cells from inflammatory injury. So initially they started out looking at cardiothoracic surgery patients. So if you get a heart bypass or a valve or something like that, open heart surgery, obviously that's a large trauma to the system, right? And typically the body responds to these types of things in this overwhelming sort of inflammatory response. And a lot of the treatments that when patients have an overwhelming inflammatory response, we try to, it's our own response, right? It's like our immune system kind of thing that is doing a lot of the damage. So we try and stop that. What this drug does is it's like a cytoprotective. So it essentially sits, in front of the cells and protects the cells from our own inflammatory response or our own hyperimmune response. But what happened is when we started out, when we met these guys and we saw their presentation initially, I looked at it and said, "Oh, this is cardiothoracic surgery, but what about that?" And that was like 400,000. They were targeting like 450,000 patients a year. So I raised my hand and said, what about trauma? What about sepsis? What about all these other injury patterns, which we have this hyper inflammatory response? And at the time they said, well, we're not sure yet. And then of course a few months later they announced, yes, it can target a lot of these other responses, or a lot of these other problems, as well as cardiothoracic surgery. And so that increased the number of patients that it could treat to probably 2 million plus. So we're pretty excited about that because we identified this pre-market pharmaceutical. We're like, great, we're gonna invest in this. And then not only did it increase triple the number of patients that could be treated every year, it also got breakthrough designation and a fast track designation with the FDA within the last 3 months. So we're pretty excited about that.
And that is huge. And I'm just getting educated in a lot of this as I'm spending more and more time with Dr. Buck and the other board members. Fast track designation is something that happens, I don't know how often, but it is something that happens through the FDA. It's when the FDA sees potential in a drug, they see the efficacy of it, they see that it's going to do good in the market, they want to get that drug to the market sooner. Breakthrough designation is fairly rare. Last we looked, only 251 biotechs or pharmaceuticals were ever given breakthrough designation, only 5 this year. So Renovis was just given that. You can see news stories on that. This is a drug that the FDA's got, they're behind. They see what it's going to do. Like those Dr. Buck was saying, the studies show that it wasn't just, it protects all organs, even the brain, which is just incredible. And this is the team that's behind it. They have been doing this for years. They've got people on the board of a lot of the drugs they work with. And so they're going to help feed us future projects as well. We've got others we're looking at, as well as our AI platform that will help identify and support the token. So that's that's the power of this project, right? We're coming out strong as the FAIR project with our one of our most powerful nodes, only 50,000 nodes available. There'll only be 500 million tokens. This is also a half-life token similar to Grow. So, Travis, you talked about the power of that and holding, that. If I'd known a year and a half ago, in November of 2021, or I guess it's been longer than that now, if I'd have known where black gold would have gone, I would have never gotten rid of a single token. I had no idea where this was going to go. But I come from a real estate background, and DebtBox and IX Global, those two opportunities allowed me to leave a career of 20 years. And it's been so fun. And so I'm so excited to be a part of the FAIR project and be a part of the team to help improve and revolutionize the healthcare industry. We are starting this token off a little bit differently than a lot of the other Half-Life tokens. We're starting at a lower price. There's about 2,000 nodes sold so far. Just launched today on the IX platform. So they're available now in micros and in perpetual nodes. So go get those. But we're going to raise pricing to top out at about $4,500. So you can see these break points. Get them soon, accumulate as many tokens as possible. Like you said, it's all about accumulation. That's what these projects are about. And I'm a big fan of aluminum as well. And it's pretty exciting what happened with blocks. I mean, that's just incredible what's happened. It's been huge. So we're super excited, very, grateful for IX to include us and to be the first L2 project on the debt platform. We've got a lot of other channels out there. So if you want some information, go to the fairproject.ai. And what you'll do is, because we are the first L2 project, we're not going to be included in your DebtBox dashboard right out of the gates until the debt chain is launched. So you'll go to your IX platform, buy your nodes just like you would any other project, but then go over to the fairproject.ai and set up your dashboard there, and your licenses will be airdropped over. Just be sure to use the same email that's associated with your IX dashboard when you set up your Fair dashboard. And then at some point, we don't know what the debt chain is going to look like and how that integration will work. I know there's many other projects coming, which is so exciting, but we will be integrated into their marketplace as that happens. This was a little bit behind, out of order, but like I said, I don't think there could be a better CEO of a company than a board certified trauma surgeon that's also been involved in cryptocurrency for over 10 years, and somebody that, and along with the other board members, that just really see a need to improve the healthcare industry as a whole through technology and blockchain. It's just amazing what can be done. And how big this segment of the economy is. So we're super excited about it.
That's awesome. Dr. Parker, how are you, my friend?
I'm great.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
We're not dying of sweat in the bus driving to Ghana right now. So it's so exciting what you guys have done here. And I hope you don't mind. I do have a question for you. And I know you obviously have some things to share. And it's a question I have to ask, because, there's some people that are watching this presentation right now that when they hear the word pharma, I don't want to say there's a negative connotation, because pharmaceuticals are saving lives in many different areas. But there's some people that, they think that big pharma is this evil entity. And I'm not saying they are or they're not, but, for those individuals and for people that, hear the word FDA, they're like, oh, they hear those words. So can you talk to me a little bit about that and just your position on and where this project stands in relationship to some of those concerns?
Yeah, we get that a lot, kind of like, why are you working with the evil empire here? But the short answer is so we can improve the system. And I think that we have that chance. And so the long answer is sort of like, I've been in medicine for 20 years. I went into surgery. I wanted to become a surgeon. I didn't want to become a doctor. I didn't necessarily distinguish the two when I was like 17, but I was like, okay, I want to go into surgery because I wanted to fix people, send them on their way, have them forget about me, not take any pills, not manage, some pharmaceutical for 30 or 40 years and things like that. That's kind of how I imagined going into medicine. Well, it's a little bit different. I see the applications of pharmaceuticals certainly can improve quality and quantity of life for sure. And so with this, we saw the opportunity because of, sort of like I was always been very interested in technology. I started mining Bitcoin very early. We got lucky to be introduced to some of the Debt Council very early, and then sort of my wheels started turning. Like, how do I integrate all of these things? The blockchain technology. I always kind of saw that healthcare did not move very quickly with in the regards to technology, and I was kind of frustrated with that a lot. So when I started to understand, especially when we started to see how that ecosystem was running, what they were doing with asset-backed cryptocurrency, the blockchain, things like that. Then we started saying, okay, how can we put these things together? This is what I know. This is what I'm experienced in healthcare. I know a lot of problems in healthcare. I know, all the frustrations that you have as a surgeon or just a doctor, just, in the system. And so I saw, wow, there's a real opportunity here to use blockchain and technology in general to marry that with healthcare, but also AI. And so when AI started to present as something that we could use recently over the 6 to 8 months or so, then we started to think about how can we make the system better, because not only can we use blockchain, that's great, asset-backed crypto, but let's not do a financial instrument. Let's make the whole, let's improve healthcare because it has all these problems. And so that's what we're trying to do, especially with this. Our first project is the RXT, where we say, okay, well, we're building these AI algorithms to understand how, the FDA that was our first track. Like, how does the FDA approve these pharmaceuticals? Because when I was, working, I could see some drugs would come online and everybody would say, oh, these are great. Look at all these amazing studies. And then, 5, 6 years later, it'd say, oh, well, you take this off the market, or this company got sued for, it had to pay $225 million, but they still have the drug on, but they're not, all these type of things. And so we started out saying, how can we understand how some of these medications are being approved by the FDA, and let's dive deeper and understand that deeper. And then if we can understand that process, then maybe we can make that process better, or at least we can open the door, start the conversation of making that process better. And that's really what we're after here. And with this AI technology, hopefully we can, number one, do well for our investors, right? But also improve the drug, making process. And whether that's for the, biotechs with our AI and helping them understand how they can make drugs that are safer and more effective, or if it's for the FDA or whoever else that is looking at this process. And so that's like what I'm really excited about. And that's just one small aspect. It's like the tip of the iceberg. And of course, medicine has a ton of problems. And so we're we're working on other AI to fix a lot of other problems in medicine, which is also exciting. But for RXT, it's amazing. So
that's awesome. Very cool. Is there anything that is there a particular area of focus within medicine that you're wanting to stay in general? Is there a particular field? Is there a particular, what is the criteria that you guys are looking for when you align yourselves there with a particular project?
Yeah. Well, so I think that right now we're kind of like, what is the low hanging fruit? And to me, the bloating and the bottlenecking is the low hanging fruit. And so for example, I experienced where patients, like I used to work in Wyoming, and sometimes we wouldn't have a patient, we didn't have the ability to take care of a patient there for whatever reason. We didn't have a specialist or whatever it is, and you have to fly that patient out to, say, Salt Lake City, and then Salt Lake City gets them, and they say, well, you don't really need to fly this patient here, and we can probably just see him tomorrow in the clinic, whatever. But then that's like a $30,000 or $20,000 helicopter ride, and you're thinking, wow, these things kind of add up after a while. When I was in this system for 20 years essentially seeing healthcare, so you see this add up a lot. And so those types of things, we're thinking, can we develop predictive analysis or predictive diagnoses, and help augment the provider's sort of knowledge with AI. And maybe we could have kept that patient there and didn't have to fly him to Salt Lake City and get charged the patient $20,000 for a helicopter ride. So those are the types of things we're looking at. There's like 100 things I could talk about right now, but that's a great example. I think some of the other things are just note taking, like interaction with the patient. If I'm a doctor, I would usually have to go see the patient. Then I'd spend, I'd see the patient, and you'd spend 20-ish or 30 minutes or whatever it is. And then you go spend like 45 minutes doing a note, right? Type in about what you did and what you want to do and all these things, and documenting everything. It's a very big deal with medicine because everybody's very concerned about, am I going to get sued for every single interaction? And that's just kind of how it goes. But if we can automate those processes where the doctor doesn't have to, or even the nurse have to like sit down at a computer and type in like what exactly they're doing, then, if we can automate that thing, then the provider, the nurse, the doctor, NP, PA, whoever it is, can see the patient for longer. You can spend more time in front of the patient. That's the important thing, right? So those types of things we're developing right now, and we're like super excited because there's so many problems. but it's a really exciting time, I think, in medicine. I haven't been this excited in a long time. So.
Well, let me ask you this. Somebody might be asking that's listening to this right now, why would a company that has brought products like Mucinex is huge, right? I mean, these are big names that you're talking about here that Ben mentioned earlier. So why would this company partner with Fair? What's the strategic partnership benefit to them and future partners that you're going to be bringing on board?
Sure. I mean, number one, they always need money, right? And if we can help them raise money, but also, some of our technology, if we can help them with our technology, they're interested in those types of things. So that is sort of the reason. And they loved blockchain. We talked to them about what we're doing, and they thought that was really cool. And the CEO and the CFO, when we initially met them, they were like, wow, this is very innovative, and we love to partner with you guys and see where you guys can take it.
That's awesome. Very cool. So Half-Life projects, we've seen some of the fireworks with some of the other projects with Half-Life. How many tokens are going to be paid out, and at what point, or I guess before your first halving, and what does that look like?
Yeah, it's 500 million tokens total. The halving is June 1st every year. So we started mining June 1st, 2023, and then first halving will be 24 June 1st.
Okay, good. So the people that are getting involved right now are asking, am I too late? Did I miss out?
It's very early. Yeah, very early. Perfect timing.
Good. Awesome. Anything else that you guys feel important that those that are looking at or considering getting involved with a license or coming on board with a license should know about this particular project?
Ben?
I think we've covered it. I really just think it's the sense of urgency for me. If I could go back and have the opportunity to pick up more black gold nodes, with only 50,000 being available, boy, would I do that in a heartbeat. And and also I love the idea of the micros. What really brought me into debt was that it allowed someone like me, a construction worker, a realtor, the opportunity to participate in these big projects in all different aspects. But even the micros to even break it down even further, allowing more people access. And I just think it's such a powerful tool, and we can change so many lives and help people. And that's what the project's all about, is helping people.
Yeah, I think the other thing I would add is just a reminder that, it's just not one. This is just not one drug. It's like BGLD, black gold. Initially they had one oil well. Now I don't even know what it is, over 100, something like that. And so that's the power of this, is that token is going to benefit from all of the biotechs that are pre-market pharmaceuticals that we are engaged with. And so that can go on as long as, biotechs are around, and as long as biotechs are innovating and making, things that we can use, making life better, improving quality of life, then that token will benefit from that as well.
And something real quick, Travis, I'll add, and not being a doctor, what I've noticed about all the biotechs we're looking at, these are not prescription pills that you would take on a daily basis. These are surgically related medical procedure drugs. Renibus is given, 3 days prior to the surgery. They know exactly how to administer it, to prep them, to protect those organs. One of the other drugs coming, everybody has a story with someone that struggled with health. One of our very closest friends just recently passed from fighting stage 4 lung cancer, and she was a nurse. Brilliant. She basically developed her own treatment plan. And one of the other drugs we're looking at is a drug that can help identify cancer cells. And if she had had something like that, because she struggled so much with like, do I keep doing this chemo that's killing me? Or do I trust that they've gotten it all? And she tried everything. And if we can be a part of something that can help somebody like that, and you know, that maybe this drug would have changed her life if she could have held on a little longer. And so it's something that we're really passionate about, and it feels good to do good.
That's awesome. So essentially being part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing from you guys.
You bet. You bet.
Well, listen, some of the standouts for me, 50,000 licenses on a project like this, based on the knowledge that we have now of projects like DET that had 50,000 licenses and Black Gold, I would anticipate that a project like this is going to sell out much faster than those projects did, number one. Number two, starting out at $2,000 per license and then moving our way up is a little different than some of the DET pricing models that we've seen recently. So that gives everybody an opportunity to be able to get in early during the accumulation phase, get in at $2,000 a license. But I will say this, 3,000 licenses will go very quickly within this community. We've seen that happen in a matter of a week or 2 weeks in some cases. And so if you want to be one of the individuals that's getting involved at that lowest price point, then now is the time to be able to grab one of these licenses. Is there a limit on license purchases? How many that we can purchase?
No, we don't have a limit on that.
Yeah, I don't think we have a limit.
Okay, so there's an opportunity to be able to pick up as many licenses as you want in the early stage of accumulation project that really is first in the world to be able to be bringing AI, the pharma industry, and this whole, project that these guys have put together. They're tokenizing that, and one of the things I also love is that you guys are going to be your L2 right now, level 2, layer 2. What that means is they're currently operating on somebody else's blockchain, but you guys will be the first outside project. So this is not run by DET, but you are operating on the DET, or will be operating on the DET smart chain when it launches. So you guys will be the first outside project of many in the future that are coming on board, which is exciting. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Travis, I'll echo that. Is like, we're kind of surprised that we don't know of any other project that is using blockchain and AI, well, even blockchain in healthcare in this manner, like tokenizing revenues and things like that, and especially pharmaceuticals. So I think we're surprisingly the first, which is pretty awesome.
Well, and think about how many of us have sat around and said, how do I get involved? There's all these opportunities, but it seems like they're pre-market opportunities for the wealthy that are already kind of in the inner circle that never get invited to be able to participate. It's like when Google launched and there was a private offering before it went public, right? People, don't always have an opportunity to be able to participate in something like this. And so what I love about what you guys have done is you've really opened up an ability for all of us to be able to be involved in some of these projects, these pharmaceuticals that are coming to market. And that's what I'm most excited about, is I just know the potential. So the fact that we can be involved in this, and I would have never had that chance before, is exciting to me. That's something that fires me up.
Yep.
Well, listen, it was a pleasure as always to have you guys on. I sure appreciate you, Ben and Dr. Parker. We appreciate you as well. We're excited to, represent what you guys are doing and learn more. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of educational videos that follow this as well, but hopefully this gives you what you needed to be able to make a well-informed decision whether or not to go pick up an RXT license. My advice to you, unofficially, because I'm not a financial advisor, so this is unofficial. Here's what I would do. What I'm going to do. This is not advice. You do whatever you want to do. What I'm going to do is I'm definitely not going to sit on this. I'm definitely going to pick up some of these RXT licenses so that I can be one of the first to be able to be activated and start accumulating, because I understand the power of a half-life project and all that accumulation that's going to occur between now and next June. So with that, thank you guys very much for being here. It's always a pleasure. Everybody that was watching tonight, hope you learned something. Hope you gained some value out of watching this presentation. If you have any questions, get back to the person that invited you here. They'll be able to steer you in the right direction. With that, thank you so much. Once again, Travis Flaherty signing off here. You guys take care and God bless.